Steve here for one of my brief little services. I guess some of you might be hoping to get one of these or more on Sunday, the obligatory Easter egg. I'm hoping to get a few, of course, this year. And Easter Sunday, appropriate time to be eating eggs and chocolate because we celebrate as a Christian community the resurrection of Jesus, which brings us so much hope, excitement, anticipation for what God can do in our lives. But we're not getting there just yet. I suppose I want to put out an invitation to you to, before you get to the feasting of Sunday, to think about maybe being slightly more reflective on Thursday and Friday. Today we mark as Maundy Thursday in the Christian church. Maundy, the word Maundy comes from some Latin. I'm not going to bore you with that because I'm not very good at it. But Maundy comes from mandatum, I think, which is commandment, coming from a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another as I have loved you. They're words from John's Gospel, chapter 13, where Jesus is addressing his disciples and for perhaps the last time, and he tells them that they are called to love one another as he loves them. There's many ways in which we believe Jesus shares that love, or shared that love, and during this conversation with the disciples, he went on to show it in a very practical way. Just before the supper, I think, it said he got down from table, took off his outer clothing and took a towel and a bowl, and he got down and washed his disciples' feet. And this was acutely embarrassing for the disciples because in their culture, often there was an expectation that a servant would wash guests' feet. In a dusty country, part of it was symbolic, part of it was practical. They usually lay down next to each other, watching with their feet next to each other's faces, so perhaps that wasn't very good during a meal. But none of them had the wherewithal or humility to offer to do it. And Jesus, their teacher, their master, gets up, takes off his outer clothing and takes the form as a servant and washes their feet. And Peter, one of the disciples, says, "You're not doing that to me, I should be doing that to you." And I guess Jesus could have said, "Yeah, right, why didn't you?" But he doesn't say that. He allows him to wash his feet, Peter, eventually, and then Jesus afterwards, when he sits back at table, says, "I'm your master, your teacher, and you know what? You're dead right, I am. You should look to me, you should be obedient to me, you should follow me, you have followed me, but I have washed your feet. And since I can do that for you, you should do it for each other." And he challenges them as an example, if they would be Christ-like, to wash each other's feet. And of course, he doesn't practically necessarily mean literally, let's go around washing people's feet, but often at a service we do on Maundy Thursday, we might do that. Some people might dare to take the shoes and socks off and allow somebody to wash their feet. But it's a picture of what we're meant to be doing as disciples. So I suppose I want to encourage you to think about what you might want to give somebody an Easter egg on Sunday. Great, celebrate. But what might be an act of service you could do, either today, perhaps it's getting a bit late in the day, a humble act of service, which might just bless somebody, meet a need, or just to show them that you think they're worthy of your attention and love. What might be that gift, as well as an egg? What might be the gift of service you would give to somebody to show that you're a disciple of Jesus? Nothing is below us, you see. There is a little caveat I want to put in this. Some people think that they're only worthy to do the skivvy jobs. And for those people, this teaching could be quite dangerous, that we need to be serving. Some of you need to hear the message that you are children as well as servants, that you're loved, and perhaps the service God is calling you to is something more creative, more challenging, and also he longs to serve you. Of course, the other thing that happens on this night is we recall the Last Supper Jesus had with his disciples. And the Last Supper was itself Jesus in it possibly reinterpreting a famous meal in the Jewish community called the Passover, when they remembered their deliverance out of captivity. Jesus says from now on, instead of doing this to remember that original Exodus, do it to remember me. Of course, they didn't know what he was talking about at the time, but when he used these strange words, he takes the bread and he breaks it and says, "This is my body given for you." And when he takes the cup and says, "This is my blood shed for you," I don't think they really knew what he was on about at the time, but they came to see that it was a reminder of what he was going to do for them in the following days, particularly the day that followed, which we've come to call Good Friday. Maybe we can talk about that tomorrow. I might be back. But Christians believe that Jesus did come to serve. He came to say, at the end of that passage, even the Son of Man, referring to himself, came not to be served, but to serve and give his life as a ransom for many. Tomorrow we'll be remembering how Jesus, who many of us believe to be God amongst us, was willing to humble himself, humiliate himself even, and lay down his life on a cross. Powerful, moving times for many of us Christians. Sobering times, as we often think we have fallen short. If you're a servant and you serve others in humble ways, maybe you can see that as a way of offering your devotion to Jesus. It's a very practical action to serve people in their need, but also it's an opportunity to worship God. So bless you in your service. If you want to join us tonight, you're very welcome at Emmanuel Church in the Ecumenical Centre. We've got a service of reflection. We'll be lighting a few candles and recalling at a sort of a gentle pace that passage in John 13. But if you can't be with us, why don't you read that passage and think on it yourself? Plenty of other churches, if people want to put any comments on this feed about anything in your locality. I've noticed Chris Collins is watching, or was, so there might be a Maundy service going on in Wolverhampton. Who knows? So if anybody wants to put anything up to invite people to anything happening this evening, please feel free. But 7 o'clock tonight would be more than welcome. God bless you. It's Maundy Thursday, it's Good Friday. And let's get ready to celebrate on Easter Day. God bless, and bye-bye.